Dear guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to validate input form fields using JavaScript. So it's going to be really easy using regex. So here it is, regex. In case you can't hear me clearly, it is regex. Okay, so let's get started with the video. It is going to be really damn simple. So first of all, let us open the HTML document. Okay, so just open the HTML document, and here you have created a basic HTML document. Okay, I've named the HTML document HTML document.html. So now I'm going to type into script tags. Okay, so I've made the script tag. Okay, the next step is to create some input form fields. Okay, so the input form fields will be created using the input tag input, and then I'm going to put in id for every input field. Okay, so things become easier. So id equal to full name. Okay, so this is the first. Okay, so this is the first input field. I'm going to put input type text. Okay, type equal to text. So here we go. So let us preview the file. I'm clicking on the lightning icon, so then it will preview the file. Okay, so here we see this is the first input field. Okay, so now you see that the input field is created. Now let's put a label for this input field. Okay, so that we'll understand which input box is for what. So let's type in some labels. So label. So I'll put in the label full name. Okay, okay, so this should show a label on the HTML when we refresh the page. So here we refresh the page. Okay, here you see that there's a name. Okay, now so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make duplicates of this particular input field. Okay, so I'm going to press Ctrl D in brackets. It won't work with other text editors. I'm using brackets, so I'm pressing Ctrl D. So one I created full name, another full name, another. So let us put full name, and then let us put in email, then password, and then you can put in something like the username. Okay, so this field looks extra, so I won't need it. Let us now save the file, Ctrl S, and now let us see what happens in the HTML document. So this is what we see. Okay, so we see that everything is on one line. So let us put in a BR statement so that everything comes on the next line, so everything looks more systematic. So I'm putting more BR statements. Okay, pressing Ctrl S to save. Now moving forward, we will change all the IDs for all the elements. Okay, so for email, I'm going to type in email so that it will be easy for me to understand. For password, I'm putting password, and for username, I'm putting username. The next step is that I will be putting in an on key up event. Okay, so let us put an on key up event for all the text fields. For now, we will put all the key up events, and then later on we are going to define all the functions. Okay, so I'll show you how it's done. I'm pressing Ctrl S. So now let us define functions for every input box. Okay, so to make things simpler, I'm going to define 1 2 3 4. I'm going to define 4 functions for every input box, so I can validate every input box using the separate function. Okay, so what I'm going to type in is, I'm going to type in the keyword function, and then I'm going to put in function name called full name. Okay, I'm going to call it validate full name. So I'm just typing val full name so that it will be easier to understand. So again, let us create some duplicates, pressing highlight this section and press Ctrl D. 1 2 3 4. Since there are 4 text boxes, I'm going to create 4 separate functions. This is an extra one, I'm deleting it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, now that I'm going to rename all the function names, because we don't want to have 4 functions with the same name. So I'm going to put val email, val password, and then I'm going to type in val username. Now I'm going to type in some alerts inside the functions, because then we will come to know that the functions are being called. Okay, so I'm typing in alert, ALERT, and here we go, alert, and here's another alert, here's another alert. So I'm going to also put in some messages inside the alerts. I'm going to just copy the function name inside the alert, because that makes things simpler and it makes us easy. It will make you find it easier to understand. Okay, that the function is being called. So now we need to type in the functions that need to be called. Okay, so as you see, the functions name are val, then type in the id name. Okay, since we have named it that way, so now val email, val password, and val username. So let me explain to you what is a on key up event. Okay, so on key up event is one of the most useful ways to validate forms. Okay, it will basically, it is a event. Okay, on key up, it is an event in JavaScript that will help you determine whether the person has pressed any key. Okay, so now we will refresh the page and check what is going on. Okay, so let us type in something, so then the function should be called. Okay, let us refresh the page properly. I don't know why it wasn't called. Okay, it was a fail. Okay, you see that the alerts are not working. Okay, so I press the F12 button, and under the console that I see that there is an unexpected token error. Okay, so we need to click on the first link and check what is the error about. So it says unexpected token. So I'll tell you what mistake has happened. Okay, so basically we have not put the function brackets over here. Okay, so this will get us rid of that error. You need to put the function brackets. Okay, so now I've saved the file. Let us try to refresh the page once again. Now let us type in something. Here you see the functions are being called. So now is the important part. Okay, so now I'll show you how to use regex. The procedure is really simple. What you got to do is, you need to go to the JavaScript section and copy some regex codes. Okay, so the regex codes will look like some weird algorithm inside. Okay, if you are new to this, then you might find it weird. So I'll show you some examples of regex now. So to validate the full name, we will need this regex code. Okay, I'm going to paste it over here. So we need to define a regex code. So the regex code will be looking like this. This is the regex of full name. So here I'm going to type in a comment. Similarly, to validate the email, you will require email regex. Okay, so here goes the email regex. Do not worry, I'm going to post this regex in the blog post that I am going to link below. So that is going to be useful for you, okay, to validate the form fields in your project. Okay, so here are two other regex. These are two other regex codes that will help you to validate your code, validate the text fields. So now I'm going to show you the procedure for validating the code, okay, the input boxes. So for now we are going to remove all the alerts. I'm just going to comment it out so that it becomes simpler to understand. We won't get that irritating alerts every time we test the code, okay. So first of all we will do the full name. Before validating the full name, the first step we need to do is we need to get the value of the full name from the text box. So when the function is called, we will be taking out the value of the first name, okay. So you got to type in this code, okay, in the function, that is var user first name, or you can type in full name is equal to document.get element by id full name dot value. So this will help you get the value of the element, that is full name. This is the this is helping you get the value using the id, okay. So you are going to get the value in the full name. Then the next step is to apply the regex function. So for applying testing the regex code for the first name, I mean the full name, you need to type in this type of statement, okay. You need to type in an if statement. So if, just type in a simple if statement and put in the curly brackets as usual. Then you'll have to type in, so now you have to determine which regex code you're going to use. So I'm going to use the full name regex code, okay. So I'm double clicking on this and clicking on copy, control C, and then I'm going to paste it here. If full name dot test, test, okay, and in the, we have to put in your round bracket again, okay. So now we have to copy paste the first the full name that is defined over here, okay, var full name. So we are going to check the full name against this test. So now this will give you a true or false value based on whether the value is being matched or not. So I'm going to put in alert. I'm going to type in validation passed or failed respectively, okay. Here I'm going to put in another alert, and your validation passed. So let us test this first code, okay. Let us go to the HTML document. Let us refresh the page first of all. I'm pressing Ctrl F5 to make sure that there's no cache saved, okay. So now let us type in something. On the key up event you should see an alert. So now we are getting some errors in the console. Okay, so full name dot test is not a function, so this is an error. We need to check how to solve this. Okay, so the problem is that I've used the variable, I've declared the variable twice. Okay, so there's a confusion. So I've used the full name over here as well as I've used the full name over here. So basically, so the value of full name is overridden by the document.get element by id value. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to rename the function name to 1. Okay, and I'm going to rename the function the full name 1.test. Okay, so this is the regex, or I'm going to type in regex for you to understand that this is the regex. So here it's now it is very clear that now we are using the regex here and the full name variable over here. Let us go ahead and refresh the page and check if there are any errors. I'm going to refresh. I'm pressing Ctrl F5. Okay, that is the standard way to clear cache in Chrome. So now let us type in something. Okay. Okay, so you see that when I cross 3 digits, when I type a 3-digit name, the validation passes. Whereas when I type in a 2-digit name, the validation is failing. So since this is a full name validation, it will also accept space bars. Okay, so space, correct, so it's expecting accepting it is accepting space bars as well as um, characters obviously. So let us type, so now let us type in some number and see whether it is failing or no. So it says that validation failed. Since I've typed in a number, the validation is getting failed. Okay, so guys, now I'm going to show you how to improve the interface. Okay, so now the customer won't understand, or customer or user won't understand how to, whether the error or no. You can't show him alerts every time. Okay, because alerts are really irritating. So in this case, I'm going to change the text, the border of the full name field to red or green. Okay, if he's typing it right or wrong. So I'll show you how that is done. So now I'm going to go to the HTML file and I'm going to, I'll have to include the jQuery CDN to do this. So I'm going to go to Google and type in for jQuery CDN. So here we go with the jQuery. Let us see if we get the CDN library. Okay, so let us go to the download jQuery and see what happens. So I'm going to click on CDN. No. So I'm going to click on Google CDN. And now here there are several libraries. Okay, so I'm going to go to the jQuery section. Here is the jQuery section. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this thing on my code. So I copied it and now let's paste it. Okay, I'm going to type it in the head section. And now I'm going to type in the code that will change the border of the text boxes. So this will help us change the text box color. Okay, so in the passes function I'm going to make it green color. Here you see this is green, and in the failed section I'm going to turn the text box color to red. I'm going to type in red. It's not working, so I'm going to put in hash C33. Okay, so you see that there's a red color now. So let us save this file and go to the test document once again. Now let us refresh the page. Okay, so now let's type in something. So you see that the text box is become green. Okay, when we have typed the correct thing. So now let's type in something wrong, that is like a number that is not applicable in the full name. So you see that the text box is become red. Now similarly we have to validate the email as well as the password and the username. Okay, so I'm going to paste in all the important functions inside. Okay, so you got to type in this type of code inside. For email, so basically I'm getting the value from the document.getElementById function. Then I'm validating it, the email validate.test. So email validate.test, and this is the email over here. Okay, I have to explain to you to what is this local storage or set item email equal to 1. I'll explain that very soon, but for now I'll request you to ignore it. And also I will need to define one more validate function that I'll be defining later on in this video. Okay, so for password I'm just going to keep it simple because I'm just going to calculate the length of what password is used. Okay, we'll be just calculating the length. Okay, so here is the password validation code. So now I'm going to type in it for the validate password also. um, and now for the validate username we will have to type in a thing that accepts only characters and does not accept spaces. Okay, so I'll show you how that is done too. So first of all we need to get the username in a variable. Okay, so this line of code will help you do it. That is, you have to just get the value, simple. Next step is to the check the name, whether the name has this thing, whether the name has a space, or and you have to check whether the length is greater than a certain number. So basically I'm checking whether the length is smaller than the certain number, as well as, just a second, so I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so if the regex test is validating it, and if the this thing if the username's length is greater than 3, so if the conditions are met, then the text box will turn green, otherwise it will turn red. Okay, so what you got to do is to check it simultaneously. So if you are adding more regexes, then you got to add it using the and function. Okay, it is a comparator operator. So in case you want to add simultaneously, you want to check several things, you will have to use the if and operator. Okay, inside the if statement use the and operator. This is necessary. So let us refresh the code and check what is happening. So now I'm pressing Ctrl S to save the document. So I'm pressing Ctrl F5 to refresh the page. Control F5. So let us type in some things and check whether the code is working or no. So test. So the full name is already working that we seen before. So Joel, um, Joel J Fernandez at yahoo.com. So if you use the autofill, then you will notice that the validation does not work because we are using the key up event. Okay, so you see it is accepting the email address when we are not using the autofill event. Okay, we have to disable autofill for this scenario. So for now, let us type and see how whether it is accepting normal names or no. So it seems that there is validate is not defined because I have not defined it validate function yet. I'll tell you why very soon, why I have to create a validate function. Okay, so in the meanwhile, let us check the password. So I'm just typing a random password, that is password. The password validation is not working. Okay, then let's check the username. In for the password, it's showing the document is null. It's returning a value null. So here there's a mistake. Okay, so we need to verify the mistake. Okay, so that's not a big problem. So let us type in the username. So username also is working, it seems, but does not you cannot put in a space. Okay, in the username, it will accept everything other than the space. It should even accept numbers. Okay, username can contain numbers. So only issues with the password. Let's check the what's wrong with the password. Okay, maybe this thing is wrong. So I'm going to type in the correct one, that is PASSWRD. What I'll do is I'll type in PASSWD and rename the ID so that it should solve the issue. So let us go back to the HTML document and refresh, pressing Ctrl F5 to refresh, and password. So you see that after I put in some number of text, it is validating it. Okay, so I'm going to put this type as password since I don't want the anyone to see what password is typing like a standard website. Okay, so this is how it's done. Okay, so one more thing to make it look better, I'm going to put in one more BR, same here, control D, control D, and here control D. I'm control saving, control S, and now it's looking more better. And the designing is looking a bit better, not so professional, I know. So now you see that all the input validation fields are working. Okay, using regex. So now I'll show you why I define the validate function. Why I'll need to define the validate function. So what happens basically is that here we need to pass in we need to set values in the local storage. Okay, local storage is one of the most useful ways of, like, it is helpful to create if you want some sort of global like variables. Global, have you heard about global variables? So it is something similar. I use it in some similar fashion. Okay, so let me put in, for validate I'm going to set the value as 1 for full name and 0. If the validation is failing, I'm going to set it to 0. Similarly, if the local storage set item, if the validation is true, I'm going to set the email local storage value as 1, otherwise I'm going to set it as 0. Similarly for password, PSSWD. Okay, it's not PSSWRD. Okay, the next thing is I'm going to set the username also as 1 or 0, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the validate function as soon as the thing is validated. Okay, so in here I need to type in the validate function. Please note that the validate function is still not defined by us yet. I'm just calling the function without defining it. So I'm going to define the function. Okay, so let me copy this and call it valid. Oh my god, I'm pressing oh, again Control C, and now I'm pasting it. I'm just making a duplicate. So this is a validate function. Okay, I'm going to rename it to validate function. Just to ensure the spelling is correct, I'm calling it validate. So now we have created the validate function. So in the validate function, I'm going to get all the values for the full name, email, username, and so on. So here's how I get it. Okay, I'm going to use local storage dot get item full name, because I set the local storage, okay, as set item. So similarly, I'm going to do it for username and password. Okay, I'm just confirming the spelling of password. So now we just need to type in an if condition over here. And one more thing I need to tell you, yeah, we first I'll type in the if statement. It is an if else statement basically. It's not much, not something special. I'll show you what has to be done over here. So basically now I am going to put in input box. Okay, input type as submit. Just a moment. So just type in input typ type equal to submit, submit. Okay, and I'm going to name it as post or something. I'm going to name it as id equal to post, and I'm going to keep the value as, I mean, the attribute disabled equal to disabled. So this will keep the button disabled, okay, in the beginning. So let me put a closing tag. So let us refresh the page and just check what is going on. I should have a disabled input button, as you see. Okay, so that's what I wanted. So my target is that when all the input fields are validated, I want the disable button to turn enable. Okay, so basically this button that you see is grayed out. It will be normal. Okay, it will be clickable. So we need to write some JavaScript code for that. With the help of jQuery, it is possible to enable that button. So here we are getting the values from the local storage. I'm just putting in a comment for you to understand. Okay, so now let us go to the local storage and see what is going on there. So you need to go to the resources tab. Okay, here that's showing an error. Let us check if there's an error. Uncaught syntax token. I don't know if it's something wrong. Doesn't look like if something's gone wrong, but I don't know why it's showing that error. Let us refresh and check. Okay, basically there's nothing in the if loop. That's the reason. In the if condition there's nothing. Okay, so let us ignore that for now. So let us go to resources tab, go to local storage, and then you will see that email is set to 1, password is set to 1, and username is also set to 1. So nothing is there for the full name. So let us type in some full name. Okay, so it seems that there's some other error. Full name is not defined. Okay, so maybe there's some typing mistake, I think. So val full name is not defined. So actually because of this function, because of this error, the further function is not being called properly. Okay, So I need to comment it out for timing. So I've commented it out. Let us refresh and check whether the error message is going. Let us go back to the resources tab and type in something over here. So you see that the value is turning 1, okay, and if something is wrong it will turn to 0 immediately. So I hope you see that. I'm just going to do it once again for you to have a look. Here now it is 1 when the value is green. Now when I type something wrong turn to it is going to turn 0. Simple. So this is applicable for all the fields, okay, you can test it out by yourself. See, now I'm going to type a wrong email and wrong everything. So basically now I'm going to write some further code, okay, that will help us validate the form field, okay. So let us check what needs to be written. So I'm going to uncomment this if statement. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just type in all the variables, okay, and I'm going to put and operators, and over here I'm going to put equal to 1. So we are checking whether the value is 1 or no. Simple as that. Now we type in email. I'm just going to make copies of this. Control C. Then I'm going to rename them individually, putting some spaces so that I don't get any unnecessary syntax errors. I just don't like unnecessary syntax errors. So email, username, and password. This thing is a repeated one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think something is missing still. Um, Full name, email, username. Okay, and this one is extra. Sorry. Let us delete it. No need for it. So now if the condition is true, we are going to simply remove the attribute disable. So you need to use this function, that is dollar remove attribute disable, okay. So this will help you remove the attribute, okay. This is a jQuery function, okay, and this post is the ID that I'm using. Okay, let us see what happens. And in case it is going in the else statement, we will add the attribute that is disabled. So we can do it using this statement. So now let us refresh the page and check whether it's working or what. So currently you see that the submit button is disabled, okay. So I'm typing something's wrong and seeing whether it is being enabled. So now it's only if this is right, maybe it is going to be enabled, okay. So I'm going to type in a correct email address format. So you see that the submit button is now enabled. So in this way you can enable or disable the submit button and use regex to validate your form fields. I hope that this tutorial was useful to you. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to leave a comment saying thank you in the comment section, and if you want more videos, don't forget to mention it that too in the comment section, so I come to know what type of videos would you like to see. So also please see my blog post in the comment section, okay. In the description I'll be linking my blog, so just view the post, so that too will be helpful for you to copy paste the code, okay. So thank you guys for watching this video.